Charles, it's a very special day.
It is indeed.
2 shows today, but we're at an unusual time right now because there's been so much going on. I did a video earlier kind of alerting everybody that tectonic plates are shifting. I don't know if we can talk about what was preoccupying you earlier, but more than that, we're going to talk about the content of what is going on. What have you got to report to everybody, Charles?
Well, I think the New York Times and Hillary Clinton likely and the Clinton, Obama, and Bush people are up to their usual tricks of peddling disinformation and misinformation. I mean, these are lies. It's not, forget this disinformation, these are just bold-faced lies. Now, neither you or I are trained journalists. That doesn't mean we're not providing investigative journalism. In fact, it more likely means that we are performing investigative journalism. So I think what we should do is we're going to do, I'm not really in the mood to be terribly nice. I mean, I think we're going to basically take this guy and Adam Goldman and his report in the New York Times, and we are going to tear it limb from limb. And we're going to educate folks on what I think is really going on. And
wait. Let's take a step back because not everybody is as dialed in as you are. Let's explain what is going on in this New York Times article that was written about in The Hill, I think, earlier today. What have we got here?
All right. Well, let's start at the beginning and see. This is an article by Adam Goldman that was posted at what time? May 22nd. Did we figure out the time or not?
I don't know if it tells us that, does it?
Sometimes they do. Maybe at the
That's interesting that they don't tell you that, isn't it?
All right.
It would be right here.
Okay, well, look at this here. The Clinton Foundation became attack fodder for Republicans in 2015. That's not really true, right? Just to start right there. First thing, there is no such thing as the Clinton Foundation, as we'll go through. And it was attacked well before 2015 by Republicans, Democrats, and independents alike. So it's pretty interesting that the person who either provided this image of an illegal moneymaker is named Anna Moneymaker from Getty Images. You have a picture of this, the leader of the Clinton graft coven is pictured here with her expensive, gaudy jewelry, which she probably, none of this did she earn legitimately. But let's go to the very top, to the headline. And what does it say? Justice Department investigated Clinton Foundation. The Clinton Foundation. All right. Is there a Clinton Foundation? I mean, this is, where do we have evidence? I mean, where is this? This guy's based in Washington, D.C., but does he work for an organization that's headquartered in New York? I think he does. It's called the New York Times. Does he have the ability to tap into the New York Attorney General Charity Bureau website the same way you and I do to establish that there is or is not a Clinton Foundation? I think he does. But he obviously didn't do it.
Yeah.
Now, if we're gonna do that after we set the stage here so people have a few things to think about. He claims that this is, I think, the same sort of thing that they tried to do with Huber. As, if you remember, the U.S. Attorney
precursor to Durham.
Yeah, well, with Huber, what they did is they pre-butted, or they basically had a story, from all these different people that are allied to the Clintons and supporting and protecting Obama and the Bush. They had a story that basically said even under Trump, U.S. Attorney Huber couldn't find anything with the Clinton Foundation, right? And then that got a fair amount of play. And remember, that was the threatening tweet that Angel Ureña sent to me right before my birthday, I think in 2019.
He went away quickly, didn't he?
I think he ran out of fruit to put in his head.
Exactly.
But,
here's an article here, says Justice Department winds down Clinton-related inquiry once championed by Trump. It found nothing of consequence. This was January 9th.
And this is Devlin Barrett, right? That's the name that we've come across.
I don't really remember who that is.
We have come across that name before. Who buys this person's clothes? I mean, look at this. It looks like she's wearing, what's left of a ratty couch in the den in the family room. What is that thing?
Yeah, I don't know.
I hope it's a gift.
But Charles, this is an example of exactly what they want that I was talking about yesterday. I had a conversation over dinner with Sheriff Joe Arpaio where he was perplexed by my suggestion that there was an effort against him. He couldn't understand why they wouldn't just kill him if what I was saying was true. And what I was trying to get across to him is this is what they want. Some sort of a sham investigation where the conclusion can be this person didn't know what they were talking about.
Right. So if we just go up the page a little bit, it says here that Sessions appointed, a little bit further, it's fitting that this organization's tagline is democracy dies in darkness because we want totalitarian rule. But anyway, John Hubert was tapped in November 2017, right after Paddock.
Right.
By Sessions.
Right.
Okay. To look into possible corruption at the Clinton Foundation. Okay. Where's the FBI vault file on that? And was there, in fact, the Clinton Foundation in November 2017? And how many different investigations must there have been into the Clinton Foundation based on what we know, right? We know, we'll look at it later perhaps, that there was an investigation from 2001 to 2005 because there's an FBI vault file on that thing. We know that in 2004, the Bruce Lindsay and Ira Magaziner and others, possibly Bill Clinton, filed a false application to create Clinton Foundation HIV/AIDS Initiative as a federally tax-exempt public charity. And that application, the IRS and others refused to give in various lawsuits. There's no evidence.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
How do they refuse to give
remember, there's a fellow called Mark Tapscott who was working with a foundation in, I forget what year, and based on following, my leads, said, well, why don't we just do a Freedom of Information Act request to get this this application on 1023 and the file and whatever. And the IRS basically said, fuck you. We're not going to do it. So we know that there must be some papers in the IRS related to that. We know that we have seen a lot of filings where they assert that they have created these various entities around the world, but there's no evidence that they had authority to do it. We know they did that in the US. We know they did that in the UK. We knew they did that in Canada, across Africa, in India, and Australia, and Papua New Guinea, all over the Bahamas, you name it. They're making false representations after false representations that they have the legal authority when they know they don't have the legal authority. We know that Hillary Clinton, when she became Secretary of State, through the confirmation process, she and the Obama team, the incoming Obama team, the FBI must have had some ability to look into the claims that were raised in the Memorandum of Understanding that's signed and dated in either November or December 2008. So we know there's got to be a file related to that. We know that there are files in the IRS related to the reorganization of the Clinton Foundation beginning on September 4th, 2009, when they created Clinton Global Initiative, and then 29th, I think, when they created Clinton Health Access Initiative, and on and on. There's a mountain of information that should have been examined. And because we were fairly certain that they wouldn't look at it, it's possible that people I know about may have sent all of this information into John Durham.
Oh.
So just to make sure that it's possible, it's highly possible. I'm not saying, it's just possible. All right.
Right.
And it may have come from various countries, not just inside the United States. So there should be quite a lot of records. People should have noticed around the world that, hey, there are differences of opinion here as to whether there is a Clinton Foundation or isn't a Clinton Foundation, and whether this investigation was thorough. I think, warning signs for an investigation not being thorough. Secretary of State, incoming Secretary of State, lies under oath to become confirmed and sets up a private set of electronic servers and devices that are not vetted, uses them exclusively during her tenure as Secretary of State, holds on to all those records for almost 2 years. When word comes that maybe people found out about it, she promises people, you could trust us. I'll just get my team of crooks together, and first we'll smash the devices, then we'll destroy the emails, then we'll bleach bit the devices, then we'll, but you could trust us that we've conveyed to you the work-related emails. We wouldn't destroy any of those, no matter how incriminating they are, because you could trust us. We have a long period Oh yeah, BlackBerry smashed with.
Well, that's the internet bringing the wrong image. I guess a BlackBerry smash is a cocktail, but it's street justice. Oh, Judge Janine?
Yeah, that was funny.
Why did she do that?
Just to kind of give people a sense of how, I'm hardly an electronics expert, but I think when we're thinking about who might have ordered somebody to do this,
that's an insane person.
Hillary Clinton, the same person who said, "Did you wipe the server like with a washcloth?" Right. Ha ha ha. So what was this investigation that
This is interesting.
Yeah.
She should have smashed them better. I think that's right, because someone could have gone in there on the board level, and if you had like a memory chip unsmashed, you could get stuff off of it.
Right. So I would have thought, I'm not an expert on this, but I would have thought there's got to be some acid.
Burn it.
That you just put it in that acid.
Submerge it in salt water while it's on. That'll make it pretty difficult to recover. Light it on fire. How about just don't do crimes with it is one way to go.
That's how I roll.
You're
taking away my life.
Not going to do that.
That's right, but that will hurt my image. I'm not a criminal.
Anyway.
So if we go back to the Goldman story, they're basically trying to say on May 22nd that there was nothing to see here, and this case was so stupid that even Trump's Justice Department shut it down when he could have done something with it. That's what they're trying to say.
And Trump is probably dumbfounded over this. Like, wait a minute, why did my Justice Department? He knows he wasn't in control of it, but that's what they want to do, is make you think he was in control of it, and even then it couldn't find anything.
Right. So newly released documents and interviews, I believe you found those, right?
He gave them. Yeah, we can just go right to it.
So what are these documents?
This is some FBI. I don't know what this is.
Unclassified. They're 14 pages, okay?
Oh, no, sorry. What this led to, Charles, somewhere on here, is this civil case.
All right, but let's not jump into that quite yet, all right? Because what I want to do is I just want to start. This is the kind of memo that you submit when you're closing. I don't know what EC means, but they've closed this thing August 5th, 2021.
Electronic communication.
All right. Now, this gives you a case ID, which people who are watching this should write, and we perhaps should write that case ID, and maybe we'll search on that and see what other mentions there are of this case ID. But this is the case involving Clinton-Giustra Enterprise Partnership, Clinton-Giustra Sustainable Growth Initiative, and then there are, I looked at that, and I would say there are 5 other lines, the way I look at that, right, that are missing in here. And the excuses for not showing them, we can look up later if we want, B6-4, B7C4, B7E5. Those will tell you the basis upon which these names are redacted.
Yeah.
So this is an investigation, unless this is the Clinton Foundation, which I don't think it is. This is something involving the Clinton-Giustra Enterprise Partnership and the Clinton-Giustra Sustainable Growth Initiative. And evidently they looked at this and they decided, because they're so fucking smart and so thorough, to ignore all of the potentially incriminating evidence and close the thing down anyway, because Biden's in charge. And if we do this August 5th, 2021, then obviously eventually they're going to get to the Hunter Biden and Joe Biden cases, because all Hunter and Joe were doing was emulating the Clintons. And this is a side point, but I want to just make it and then we'll go back to the flow. The danger of letting this kind of crap go is that people like the Bidens and people who want to buy the Bidens and people who are interested now in buying the DeSantises or the Bushes again, or you name it. It's not just Democrats who do this. They see what you can get away with. And all this does is increase the marketability, increase the rationale for paying off crooked politicians. Because if I'm just, pick a name, I'm not going to pick a person, but just, I'm somebody, I was born with my brain miswired, and I cannot understand that crime is a bad thing. My dopamine hits come from committing criminal activities, and that's just how I roll, and no amount of punishment is going to change that. There are people like that.
I agree.
And it's, you could write all the rules you want. You could torture them. You can, punish their family, whatever. They're still going to get out, just as Jordan Neely's uncle You know, the guy who was choked.
Yeah.
That guy, his uncle was just apprehended with, you know, stolen merchandise and whatever. You know, this is a family.
Well, did anybody ask him if he needs help or if they could buy him some food?
At a kiosk? I don't know.
Yeah. Now, Charles, this EC for 58A-LR2187489, it does appear elsewhere on the internet. Do you know what this is?
The Durham report.
Yes.
How did I guess that? Anyway, but yeah, and this is right in this stuff, allegations involving the Clinton Foundation. Let's take this, an interview in July 8th, 2020, so before the election was over.
I like Ray Holser, excuse me.
Yeah, there you go. But there seem to be other. See also 58A WF69307. Look, we don't have
a lot of stuff.
But there's 58A LR69129113, and then there's 58A LR2187489. That tells me that there's two. This is the original.
Yeah, he says the opening EC, which sounds like an electronic communication, is almost identical.
Okay, this one, January 29th, 2016, Ooh. That would fit in very well with a lot of things.
Yes.
But it fits in with the Horowitz report because it says there were 2 FBI investigations opened in January 2016. Now, this is to put people's mind, you know, if I were an FBI agent, you know, if I were leading this team, or let's say contributing to the team.
Clintons would be in jail by now.
Exactly. A long time ago. But I would have said, you know what? John Durham, Bill Barr, all those guys, that's fine. You know, you guys could write memos to each other and go get drunk in the congressional clubs and play golf and go off to Italy and have some nice food.
Probably eating a lot of foie gras.
And Italian food, I gather. That Barr likes that. It's kind of obvious.
Could tell.
Yeah, exactly. Lots of mozzarella. But right around this time, the senior State Department whistleblower, we had that article by Larry Johnson. We did that the last time we were in here. I think you could easily pull it up maybe. Where Larry goes chapter and verse, but for people who are not connecting the dots the way we now are, a senior State Department whistleblower is so concerned by January 2016 about the likelihood that Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton and others have been selling America out, using the State Department, using USAID, taking bribes, handing out, is this it?
I don't know.
That's a good one that we talked. No, it's the one. It's, I don't know if you might Google it. If you Google Larry Johnson with Charles Ortel, you might get to it faster.
Sure.
Sorry, but the senior State Department person sends just put State Department. Yeah, that's probably it. Oh, yeah, this is one that Katya did, riffing off the Larry Johnson thing, I think. Yeah. It detailed. The whistleblower's letter dated the 10th of January, 2016. It detailed. If you hit detailed, it should come up. Oh boy. Yeah, okay, it's in here. Okay, now you're going to have to scroll a little bit.
Do you know?
I don't know.
What are we looking for?
The actual letter is in here.
But it's all letters, isn't it?
What this is excerpts. This is just little squibs from. This is stories that I think. Yeah, what the FBI vault often has are articles that the FBI was concentrating on. These tend to be unimportant and unrelated to actually
to what actually went on.
Right, but they were reading them. They leave out the. Well, I guess this is in here tied to the senior State Department person because the State Department person likely knows what really happened in Benghazi. So here's a lot of stuff about State Department stuff. This is all Benghazi, and I forget what page, but you're getting to it soon. There's the actual letter. that excerpts from the actual letter that the senior State Department spokesperson sent to James Comey on January 10th, 2016, in brief, saying, hey, Jimbo, put down the Star Wars Lego set and focus on this fucking letter I'm sending you and get somebody who can sit with me who has the same clearance that I do. And we can go into a skiff and I can provide evidence to you of Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton engaged in treason.
But Charles, we hate evidence. Call back in a year.
That's the EBI, the Evidence Bureau.
Call back in a year when I'm fired.
Evidence is so last millennium. Like we don't
He's writing mystery books now, James Comey. Did you know that?
Is he really? Yeah.
Yeah, he wrote some mystery novel I saw on Twitter. He's doing a book event or something.
So here the FBI has lumped all these reports about Benghazi with this thing that came from the mysterious whistleblower, suggesting to me that the redacted pieces of the complaint to Comey make specific allegations about what Hillary and perhaps what Barack knew concerning Benghazi. That's my supposition. But mind you, this particular file, look at this. Hillary Clinton aide tells reporter to fuck off and have a good life. Philippe Rines, he's a nasty piece of work.
What newspaper published that?
I don't know. That might have been from Podesta WikiLeaks.
Which are gone now.
Yeah.
Nginx.
They're temporarily gone.
502 bad gateway. Somebody took the server they were on.
Wow.
Well, I mean,
we'll find. This is where I think it's from memory around page 100. But let's just keep going through it because you're almost there. There's a summary of there's a Washington field office kind of excerpt, and then there's the letter. Oh, it's right after this. Hastings.
Huh.
Melissa Turley. I wonder who she.
Yeah.
So why did Michael Hastings die? That's another thing that maybe this guy knows.
Does Jonathan Turley have a daughter?
Or a wife, maybe? So these are pages that are missing.
Wow.
In theory, because they're duplicates, in theory.
Right.
And then you get... here's the tracking slip that came with the package.
Why does the FBI have the worst scanner of anybody? What does that say?
We need more resources. Delivery section.
Uh-huh.
Okay, yeah, see this? January 19th, 2016, right? This is the senior State Department whistleblower, I think, package coming in. It was delivered. The USPS tracking. So if you were the FBI, do you think you'd have the ability to say, all right, listen, this is a matter of national security. I want to know this tracking number, who the hell paid for it, at what office was it lodged, who's the sender?
Well, there's the zip code, 20535. Is that the zip code?
That's for the FBI. That's the delivery address.
Right.
Okay, here's the letter. January 10, 2016. What page is this? 122. Hey, Jimbo. All right. Evidence about private emails used to transmit classified U.S. government national security information and the lies told by misspelled Hillary Clinton and others in an attempt to conceal her breach of national security. Okay. If I were to get this, even I with no law enforcement experience, I get a USPS parcel, I open it up, and the first subject is this. I don't say, you know what? I'm late for my squash date. I got a great time today at 11:30, and I'll play squash, work up an appetite, go to my club, have a nice lunch, go back to the office, watch some porn. No, I said, whoa, what the hell is this? And this is January 10th, 2016, right? 9 days before the FBI.
When did that Millennium Falcon Lego set come out? He could have been over at Target buying the tuck-in bathing suit and waiting for the Millennium Falcon to come out.
So, and this guy you can tell, this guy is somebody with experience.
The misspelling of Hillary Clinton, though, seems stupid.
I am less concerned about misspellings just because
Could be a typo.
Well, I think this is evidence, perhaps, that English is not this guy's first language.
Maybe.
Possibly. But it doesn't, typos.
There are some smart people who are careless with spelling.
Well, I was taught that you have to be, I'm I think, reasonably good with spelling and hopeless with punctuation and the which that thing. I can never.
But I'm saying there are people who are very smart, but not good at those things.
But you look at this, and this is going to Jimbo, the head of the FBI, and it's saying, and presumably the head of the FBI does not open his own mail. He's got multiple secretaries doing that for him, assistants, I should say. And
page 3,
and then in bold, look at in caps anyway. Proceed to page 3. Not me, man. I got a hedge fund report for the money I made last
HSBC.
time. And all this stuff. So, provide evidence which should lead to the conviction of former Secretary of State, again misspelled, for lying to a Congressional House subcommittee investigating the situation surrounding what happened September 11th, 2011. That sounds pretty serious to me, And if we're gonna make a big issue of Trump and the Trump people, lying to Mueller or lying to committees, but what's his name? Eric Holder can wear his contempt citation as a badge of honor. Let's go to the specific evidence. Oh, wait, here it is. Also, this letter should provide evidence of criminal actions by misspelled Hillary and her personal and office official staff.
Why is it being misspelled so
I think it was
frequently?
just, he probably spell checked it thinking it was with one L, and he just globally came back as it, which is, but this is Abedin, right? This is evidence of criminal actions by Hillary Clinton and her personal and official staff.
What do you mean? This is written by Abedin?
No, this is talking about Abedin.
Oh.
Right? The only person who was on the personal and official staff with Hillary Clinton was one person, Abedin.
Right.
Who were also acting while under the pay of other persons in the organization, such as what, Jason?
Clinton Foundation.
And what?
Partners.
And its partners. Okay? So even this smart guy believed at the time he wrote the letter, January 10th, 2016, that there was a Clinton Foundation, when there wasn't. Okay? It was a good enough con to trick a lot of people.
Yeah.
In this crime against United States national security. I mean, I read this, and I would be, I would be calling my best people in.
Let's at least look at page 3.
Yeah, right. Let's look at page 3.
Okay.
We'll jump to page 3. People now know how to get this. All right. All right.
Oh, here's where they start redacting. Here's the evidence. Key piece of evidence.
All right. Well, so I happen to be. This is interesting. Okay, this was. I can now tell more details because the guy who was involved with this is dead. Not Peter Smith. So he died of natural causes. So on Memorial Day 2009, I was in the Bahamas, and I was there in the Bahamas out of gratitude for all the support that the United States has done, and because the United States has a very big submarine base on Andros. Andros is in very deep water. I think I may have this number wrong, but I think there's a sort of a channel between New Providence Island and Andros Island in the Bahamas that goes down something like, Ortel. It goes down really far. You said the tongue of the ocean, a deep ocean basin, right here, with depths as great as 6,000 feet. Right, so that's my daughter
to bomb a pipeline.
My daughter learned how to swim in this water.
Wow!
Yeah.
Oh.
With her coach and my son as well. Her coach being the person who was in charge of the James Bond.
Oh, nice.
Water movies.
That's cool.
Training Connery and others and all that stuff. And he was from Britain. He was a retired spook, I think, from Britain. But anyway,
wow. So that's the base.
Right. In gratitude
for,
this is a huge investment. This island of Andros is interesting. It's not very highly populated, and it's big. It has a lot of fresh water. New Providence does not. And anyway, I was in the Bahamas with my friend Dave McGrath, who sadly just passed away in February rather. And David had a lot of friends, one of whom was the former ambassador to the Bahamas, the American guy, one of the ambassadors. And we were all there, a small group of us, at this ceremony in the Bahamas on Memorial Day 2009, trying to understand what the fuck Clinton and Obama were trying to do with U.S. foreign policy, because it didn't make any sense. And I started peppering this guy with, what are we doing in Honduras? And, I believe the person who, quote, had been elected, the word had gone that this person was preparing to steal the reserves of the central bank of the country and take them out of the country for himself.
Oh, sounds like a great plan.
And our response, Clinton
the ambassador was planning to do that?
No. The president of the country, Honduras, was trying to do this. I think, and our response was not, that's outrageous.
How do we get in on the action?
No, let's protect him and put the other guys in. And I said to this guy, who was a business guy who had been the ambassador of the Bahamas, an American guy, and I said, what is going on? I mean, you were an ambassador, or what do you think is going on? And he answered the question with a question. He said, why do you think this team is playing to help the American side? This is what this guy said. Why are you assuming that the Obama administration is actually advancing American interests? Perhaps it's not. So that's something that's completely unrelated to what the State Department guy is saying in this letter. Right? So let's go back to the letter. All right. So it talks about, there are a lot of details, and it talks about, Zelaya be removed. This is a Honduras matter. Let's just want to see the various areas if we keep going down the page.
Sorry, I lost the mouse there.
All right. This is something of all details about Honduras.
Didn't that woman kill herself in Honduras or something?
I don't know about that. This document directly provides proof that the senior Department of State leaders and other agencies, such as the White House, had full knowledge of Hillary's private email system and its use for classified communications between the Secretary of State, her staff, and American ambassadors. Does that sound like something we might maybe want to know more about?
Yeah, because what if it was one of the American ambassadors in Ukraine who testified about stuff against Trump that seemed not true? Right.
Finding this guy underlines it. Should be relatively simple. Now that you've been made aware of its existence and been shown where to look for it.
Well, you got to lead the FBI to water, but not make them drink.
Between porn and Lego sets, all right,
so money from Romania.
But so we maybe don't need to belabor the point. This letter goes on and on and on.
Here's some redacted stuff.
The person attaches his CV. So clearly the people in the FBI know who this person
has
was.
Credibility that they don't want you to see.
Did Durham interview this person?
Does he even know who it is?
Did Goldman think to look in this FBI vault file? I mean, it's not like it's impossible to find it. Did we just find it?
I think
we did. Is this the first time we've talked about this?
No.
I don't think so. All right. Keep going here. The executive director of the Department of State. This person controls all personnel hired to work within the staff of the Secretary. Did they interview that person? Probably not.
Maybe they're talking about the racehorse. Oh, that was Seabiscuit. Sorry.
No, there was Secretariat.
I know. It was.
And then this to me is a roadmap. If I decide to open an FBI investigation by the 29th of January, 2016, I absolutely have to meet with this person, and I have to run it to ground. And there's no way in which you would, based on what I've seen here, what I independently know about the Clinton Foundation, there is no way with this letter and what I know alone, forget anything else, that you'd say, you know what?
It's probably nothing.
Probably nothing. Let's take the risk that Hillary Clinton's the nominee and that all the shit comes out right before the election and that Trump, or whoever the Republican is going to be, just, he wins by default because this is such a mess. There's there's every incentive, right, to really, if you were responsible, if you were not biased, if you're not working with somebody whose wife had run to be the lieutenant governor of Virginia and had taken money from Terry McAuliffe, you probably would say, look, this is a lot more serious than a fake P-tape. This is really fucking serious stuff here.
But we better investigate that other thing for 6 years because even though there's no evidence, we know there's got to be some. Adam Schiff said so.
Right. So let's go back into the Goldman. The thing that you found, the Holster thing.
Which one?
The Holster thing, the thing you found there. Yeah.
Oh, this?
Yeah. So this says they get around to opening maybe based off the...
Who is this Ray Hostler?
We don't need that for now, but we can get back into it. This is an interview of him. But we should look into it eventually. They open something...
But even just this footnote, Charles, it's suggesting that, hey, if this means electronic communication, opening electronic communication for this investigation is almost identical to the opening electronic communication for another investigation. It sort of sounds like me, where I'm submitting things to the court that I know are true, and they're like, oh no, Jason's a conspiracy theorist, and I'm like, wait a minute. So I try to submit it another way, and they're saying, this isn't valid, you already submitted it, but it's the same people who are trying to block this evidence, saying you can't submit it.
That's true. There's actually there's F58A New York.
Because this footnote is suggesting that they keep trying to open it and somebody is shutting it down, doesn't it?
Well, no. I think 58A New York 6888608 serial 1 was opened January 22nd, 2016. That's a New York investigation. Unclear whether that's Eastern District, Southern District, but something was opened January.
That's going to be Southern District. They have their own FBI, essentially. That's referred to in the book written by what's-his-name, who got fired when he tried to investigate Epstein.
So we have, that one's opened in New York. We have one open January 27th, 2016 in Little Rock, and we have another one open July 58A LR 2187489 open July 2007.
Seems normal to have 4 FBI investigations opened into your 3. Okay.
But there's nothing here.
Yeah.
Right. And this New York Times article is only talking, does it mention a serial number in the documents? It does. Right?
That's how I found this.
Right.
Yeah. Because the New York Times says newly released documents. Newly released documents lead to this FBI report.
So this is only one.
You told me to check out this case ID number, and that is what led to the Durham report.
Right. So there should be some nice cross-checking. So there are the 2 others we don't know about.
Well, wait, Charles. Act now, and there's a civil case over here, which is... I've got that here. Hang on just a moment. That one is, here. This is a FOIA request filed August 3rd, 2022, New York Times versus FBI. But this is just a FOIA looking for what? But this is the case that they're talking about.
Hello?
Oh, this is the case that they were talking about. Anyway.
Yes.
So just so people know, this is not the New York Times suing the FBI. This is just a New York Times staff attorney doing a FOIA, Freedom of Information Act request, which I think was rejected by the FBI. And we would have to read this here. So it's basically just saying that February 2018, the Office of the Inspector General issued a report of investigation of certain allegations related to former FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe. Blah, 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 blah. September 3rd, the Times submitted a FOIA request for the FBI seeking documents related to the investigation. So this is just...
Wait, I'm sorry. I had to take that. Let's just...
This is just the FOIA.
Wait. Report confirmed the existence of an investigation into Clinton Foundation.
Here's that.
Maybe. Welcome to Acrobat. Oh, okay. We don't need to do that. That's okay.
Oh, wait. Sorry. We were looking at this.
All right.
Okay.
So let's keep going.
I think they're...
On September 28th, the FBI informed the Times that it would make responsive records available on the FBI's electronic FOIA library, the Vault, which is what we were just in.
Times Act.
Some were already available on the Vault, in the September 28, 21 letter. Oh, they searched on Clinton Foundation. The search term provided in the September 28, 2020, the Clinton Foundation returned no results on the vault.
Because,
That's
it doesn't exist.
We set it up so that, anything that we're going to try that in a second. We're going to try putting the Clinton Foundation in there because you can't return results. The 3 available productions which relate to a 2001 investigation into the pardon of Mark Rich are not responsive to the...
Pretty interesting.
The simple track cases explained that simple cases take approximately 152 days to fulfill. Medium complex, 922 days. That's 3. And large complex cases, 6 years, basically.
That's a lot.
Well, 6 years is up.
It's what we've been on. Yeah. 6 years on this. We've got it pretty well figured out.
And anything that would implicate, the FBI, that's like never.
Yeah, that's going to take a long time. Now, I didn't go to what the final determination was in this case. I did.
Let's look.
Well, it's going to be going on to Pacer. It would take a little time to search around, I think. We might have to do that and come back later. But, I think we would have read about this in the times that the FBI had given it.
All right. So this is the legal department. August 3rd, 2022 is looking for documents. Still looking for documents, okay? Now, there's a simpler way to crack this case. We had those numbers, and
what numbers?
The case file number, the Clinton Juster thing. We could say, well, let's not rely on the FBI to get to the bottom of things. Let's rely on the JGCKO and see how that works. So let's go into the New York State. Well, let's go into About Clinton Foundation, and on their site. And let's look at their 2006 About the Clinton Foundation. Let's look at their 2000. You notice.
You could be their VIP guest.
Yeah, I'm sure I would be. The annual gala is on June 15th.
Oh.
Bill's shopping for a blue dress.
I think we should go to that.
No way.
I would love to go to that.
No, I have no interest.
You get so kicked out.
Okay.
So we want About?
Yes.
But where is About?
You had a chance About there. Okay, so notice this is something that we can do. Presumably the FBI could do it too. When did the Clinton Juster Sustainable Growth Initiative start? Well, one place to guess is if we look in the annual reports, at the top there, reports and financials. Let's look at the annual report for 2006 and see what it brags about. Is the Clinton Juster Sustainable Growth Initiative in there? One wonders. You've got to have a dark-skinned baby on the cover because you're guaranteed to get money if you send that around.
Is this Bill Clinton's hands on the kid?
I hope it's not Joe Biden's. Okay, so look, this is the annual report in 2006, at the very bottom, for William J. Clinton Foundation. Okay, there's no such thing in 2006. In 2006, the name of this thing, in theory, is the William J. Clinton Foundation, if you believe that its amendments that occurred on April 25th, 2005 actually took hold, but they didn't. So let's go down the table of contents. And is there Clinton Juster mentioned? Clinton Climate, Clinton Global, Clinton Hunter.
Why don't we just search it? How do you spell Justra?
G-I-U-S.
Let me make sure we get that correct. G-I-U-S-T-R-A.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks right. Justra. Soon they'll say, talking about Justra is anti-Semitic. Nothing in
All right, so there's nothing in the 6. Let's look at the 7 annual. Up top, yeah. Same approach. Let's see what color child is on the cover of this one.
Yeah.
Dark-skinned Africans near a cobalt mine.
Now wait a minute. Maybe, is it searchable?
We don't need it. It'll be right. Clinton Juster Sustainable Growth Initiative is page 32. That'll brag about what that.
I'm surprised not 33.
Yeah. Counting the cover page.
Well, we can't click on it to get there.
So you just go down.
Well-made PDF document. There he is.
All right. Where does it say it started? President joined by Frank Giustra to announce the Clinton-Giustra Sustainable Growth Initiative in June 2007. Okay? So this thing supposedly starts in June 2007.
Doesn't he look like that actor from Casablanca? What's his name?
Oh, yeah. No,
Laurie?
Peter Lorre.
Peter Lorre. Yeah.
He's a busy guy.
Weirdo.
Back from the dead and doing Clinton-Giustra. Anyway, so by June 2007, this is to announce the Clinton in June 2007. What is this?
It says, it's hard to zoom in on this.
A chicken farmer in Antamina, Peru.
Oh, yeah. They need all the help they can get.
They're working to improve the lives of people living in areas of greatest need in Peru and Colombia. Now, park the thought for a second of whether your distant cousin Alana Goodman and Ken Silverstein may have done several stories about what Clinton-Giustra Sustainable Growth Initiative was up to in these countries.
Probably raping people.
Well, it's really what they were doing, I think, the allegation runs, and if the FBI were interested in actually investigating, what they were doing is they were funneling money through these supposed vehicles to purchase influence various ways. I think with Clinton, with these international organizations, and with world leaders in these countries where they can get resource deals and timber deals and oil deals, gold deals, and stuff
Uranium.
like that. And the actual person who was inside the Clinton Foundation drawing a salary, Eric Nonax, was a funny name, Nonacs, was simultaneously, for a bunch of his time in the Clinton Foundation, working for Frank Giustra in an investment bank called Endeavor Capital. He brags about it, this guy, Nonax, in various accounts, that he was simultaneously Bill Clinton's foreign policy advisor. On what basis on what experience he may have, I have no clue, and concocting deals, which sounds to me like enormous. But before you get into any of this, let's just jump right. Let's make the FBI's work extremely easy and go into the New York State
Charities Bureau.
Charities Bureau.
And what are we looking for? Clinton-Giustra.
We're going to punch into EIN 31-1580204. And we're going to pull up the 2007 audit report, which is different than the one that's in the Clinton Foundation. The main about Clinton Foundation 990.
It's very slow, this search.
It's going to be slow because they're making sure that we don't do it. Here we go. Bill, Hillary, and Chelsea Clinton Foundation. This, of course, doesn't exist. All right. And we look at the report for 2007, further down. Right there. That's 8 and 7. And we're going to go now to the very back of this report.
Back?
The final several pages of it. Okay, these right here, these schedules. And we're going to rotate these. That schedule's fine. You can rotate that. I forget how you do it.
Yeah, it changes depending on where you want to do it. This is new. Oh, you need the paid. I don't have the paid one on here.
Okay, you don't need to rotate it. Here's CGS right here. This is the Clinton-Giustra Sustainable Growth Initiative having minimal assets and liabilities of $60,000 at year-end 2007, right?
Is that not ridiculous? I pay so much to Adobe and they want me to pay more to rotate something.
Then look at the next page. This gives you the income statement. This is claiming that it had $100,000 of revenue. Now, I wouldn't be like this if this were, two people in front of a folding table with a big glass jug, collecting pennies for homeless people here in New York. $100,000 is a lot of money. I'm not saying it isn't a lot of money, but stop there right there for a second. Look at the date here when this was received.
You barely see it.
It's 2000, I think, either 8 or 9.
It's illegible.
No, that's on the right. I'd say it's definitely. The first is a 2. We know that's a 2.
This looks like a 9 because an 8 would have an indent, but that is what I would call.
Well, 2000.
I mean, why do all these things have the worst scanner anybody has ever seen? It's not 1986.
My point to you is that, again, the challenge that B-Rock and Hillary had in trying to get the papers for the Clinton Foundation in order is that this audit was due in New York by November 15th, 2008, which is before Hillary Clinton went through the confirmation process. So they wanted to make sure that this document did not get to the U.S. Senate, probably didn't get to Obama, and they only filed it in New York after Obama had been sworn in and after Hillary was there and after Obama won his Peace Prize. So you go into here and you see, we'll go into the revenues. We got 100,000 of revenues.
Where is that?
Further up the page. It's right there, yeah. 100,000 of revenues, which is not much for Juster, because remember, Juster sends 145 million all told by Fabian Chalandon's reckoning.
Hang on, I think I got a way to make this work the way we want here. Let's try it this way. There we go.
There we go. Okay. So this is showing that at year-end 2007, an entity called William J. Clinton Foundation, Inc., which did not exist. There was no such entity with that name anywhere that was a legitimate public share. This is what's called a combining statement of financial position. That is not consolidated, generally accepted accounting principles. This is just, we're going to tell you that we have these entities over here, and very likely, you see you have this line, intra-organizational receivables payables, right?
Yeah.
And these need to be consolidated out in what are called consolidating adjustments. And I think in the end, there's a zero balance, but you can't do this. You have something called climate, doesn't exist. Something called CHI doesn't exist. Something called CHDI, that's Clinton Hunter, and the CGSGI at year-end 2007. None of this is legitimate, right? And the foundation itself, for all of this year and for all of the period afterwards in question, this is when Hillary's running for president. This information would have been very, very relevant had the Bernie Sanders people known the true state of the Clinton Foundation, and had the Obama people known the true state of the Clinton Foundation early in the process, let's say by May of 2008, Obama would have just crushed her like a bug. And she would not have been Secretary of State, and he would have been a lot better off, and the world would have been a lot better off. Yeah. But they had to hide this information, because this thing, that's not the real name of it. The name was the William J. Clinton Presidential Foundation. That entity had bylaws and had articles only through April 25th, 2005, and afterwards has never again had legitimately bylaws or articles, and has never had an audit that's legitimate, and therefore doesn't exist. And I wouldn't have needed to spend 6 years on this with you. And certainly the FBI wouldn't need to spend more than like a week maximum. You could take their worst agent, Mr. Magoo's great grandson, who is even blinder, even deafer, even dumber.
Ken Engberg.
Or Ernie Skirmy, somebody like that. You put him on the
Robin
case. And you just say right away, this is bullshit, right? There is no Clinton Justra SGI. There's no record of it anywhere in the United States. It was operated from the United States. When we look in the various disclosures, if we go, for example, into the 990, which will be up the page here, there's a list of countries you'll get to somewhere. It's probably towards the end typically.
Wait. Did we pass it? I can't really see the TV from
I can. If you go a little bit more slowly, I'll tell you.
Let me just go here we go. So this is
that's the New York Forum.
Char. Here we go.
Yeah. It's an exhibit further down. This is the main portion. There's going to be, you have to list the countries where you're operating. And clearly they're operating in Canada. That's where there was an office in Canada, if this Justra thing is operating. And you may have a bank account up in Canada, maybe.
General explanation attachment?
Yeah, that's proper. It needs to be truthful and complete, which of course...
I mean, come on, that's a lot to ask.
Yeah.
Charles,
here we go.
Yeah.
Do we see Canada on this list?
Well...
No, is the answer.
Oh. If it's
so operating
alphabetical.
All of these countries...
Here, Cameroon, Simon was telling us.
Cameroon. Right, but it's not operating in Canada. It doesn't have an office and or a bank account in Canada. So how is it conducting the Clinton-Justra Sustainable Growth Initiative if it doesn't have an office in Canada? And it's also...
Oh, wait, there it says Canada under the hole.
It's Uganda.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. It's missing an A. Right. That's pretty tricky, isn't it, Charles?
Right. That's very tricky.
I thought that said Canda.
Yeah.
We misspelled it. We gave it to a panda, and he popped a hole in it.
Right.
The only other thing is, if Bernie Sanders had found out about this, he could have said, the American people are sick and tired of hearing about your damn foundation. That would have been the end of it.
Yeah. I guess that was 16 when Bernie
Can you believe that crap?
Right. Well, now let's go, and for fun, let's go back into the About Clinton Foundation, and let's see if the audit that they provide for 2007 on the Clinton Foundation site, this audited financial statements, we go to 2007, does it have the combining statements of activities and statements of financial position here? Yeah. And typically they do, this is the William J. Clinton Foundation, so a different name. Let's look at the contents. Wait. You see, it says supplementary information. The Clinton Foundation puts it on their site, and it says combining statement of financial position, combining statement of activities. Let's see if those 2 pages are in this document.
How will we know?
We're going to get to page 15 and 16 and see if they're there.
That's 9.
Nope.
Really?
They're not there. So they don't file them with the IRS, or they don't file them on their site, and they file a different version. These people are basically not crooked enough. I mean,
what do you mean?
Because clearly somebody wanted to get caught here. I mean, if you go back into the audit on the table of contents, if you're not going to include the combining
stuff, take it out of
just white it out.
But is it done because they want to get caught, or is it done because they know the IRS just looks at this and figures, well, it's probably there?
Well, I don't know. I think they know the IRS has been told, thou shalt not fuck with the Clinton Foundation, because if you do and you pull on these strings, you implicate the Bush family and you implicate, at this point, the Obama family, and you make Peter Schweitzer look like a genius, and you make Donald Trump look like a genius, and we can't have that because we like to steal money the old-fashioned way without working. That's what we like to do. So for Mr. Goldman, let's really kind of rip his face off a little bit here. Let's go and look at business entity search in New York, and is there a Clinton-Justra anything registered in New York? That's it. Entity name.
Well, we can just put in
Justra.
Yeah. All statuses contains corporation.
Yep.
LLC.
No.
Oh, Peter Justra.
No, Clinton-Justra.
How about just Clinton?
Oh, there's a lot of Clintons because there's Clinton County and stuff. But they never registered. You see, what they, I think, thought they were going to do is they would have these various initiatives. If you're, we've talked about it before. If you're Yale University and you're the dominant taxpayer in New Haven, because you elect to contribute taxes.
I thought they don't pay taxes.
They make voluntary contributions to be on the right side of the town gown stuff. You're a very important employer. You're, growth engine for that horrible.
Town is nothing without Yale, basically.
Yeah. And so you could get away, if you're an up-and-coming professor and fast and loose and you've got coverage above you, you can create the Yale, whatever you call it, the Yale Anti-AIDS Initiative. And you just start, you get, as Paul Farmer did with, for Clinton Foundation HIV/AIDS.
Just get money and fight AIDS.
You just go off, you get a portion of some hospital wing at Mass General and Harvard or whatever it is, and you just send out stationery saying that, and you just tell people, look, give the money to Harvard and they'll give it to us, and fuck off with these questions. You're asking too many questions. And so that's, I think, the way universities operate. That's the way this Clinton Foundation operates. And it's a lot like, I actually liked The West Wing because I could watch it, the TV show, and I could say, I'll ignore the reality that, as Ted Cruz explained recently to AOC, the dumbest member of Congress, I think, by far, dumbest and most vocal. Right?
Maybe,
She's
yeah.
always shooting her mouth off.
Fetterman, does the Senate count as Congress?
I'm in House of Representatives.
Yeah, because he's pretty dumb.
He's also, he's smarter than Biden. But, as AOC learned, I think, in a very brutal fashion, and as Elon Musk exulted, Cruz schooled her on the history of the Democratic Party, the fact that Joe Biden actually delivered a eulogy speech.
Right. How did she not know that?
Because she's an idiot. She's somebody. I was talking about the West Wing. The West Wing theory, which I think the West Wing syndrome and the sickness, really, that AOC has, and a lot of people, both on the right and the left, get it. The people who say, when Congress told you can't support the Contras in Nicaragua, we voted that down, we're going to say, that's interesting, but we're a separate and equal branch of government, and we're just going to do what the fuck we want. Fuck you, Congress. That's a dangerous way.
With illegal money.
With illegal money and an illegal foundation.
Yes.
Right. That's dangerous when you say, look, the Constitution doesn't matter. I am acting for a higher purpose.
Well, where's that Comey book?
Didn't you shred it?
No, I have it. It's right there. A higher loyalty.
It deserves to be lower down where it is. So, you get into very, very serious trouble. So this Clinton Foundation is the cover. It's a false front operation. If it really took itself seriously, and if Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton were serious, let's go back into the New York State thing, and the other one, let's go up to the top here and let's look at, all right, bylaws, organization rules. Some are sent in after Trump becomes what?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Why are the bylaws coming in after Trump?
Because, we'll get into it. So let's just see the additions they have. Some are sent June 27th. They're received after Trump wins, so before the election. You wouldn't want this damaging information.
Before the midterm election.
Before the presidential election of 2016. You wouldn't want New York State to be aware of the bylaws that had destroyed the Clinton Foundation.
But why put them there at all after Trump?
Because they were trying to prosecute? They were just trying to, I don't know. They were trying to square a circle.
Good options.
But you see, and then you have a new registration statement. But the only bylaws we have here are June 27, 2017. So
that's the same day they put this registration.
Yeah, well, they weren't registered properly in New York, and they didn't have, let's see what version they put in here. It should come, yeah. I forget if this is the 2015 version or the 2013 version. There's two, all right, yeah. Bill, Hillary, and Chelsea Clinton Foundation. And again, this type looks screwy to me, right? In the first line, it's either a poor copy.
Well, it's because it's scanned maybe in a screwy way.
Right. Okay. DBA Clinton Foundation. There is no DBA for Clinton Foundation.
Oh, boy, they've been watching our show, Charles, because they're trying to make it seem official. So where is the application to the Secretary of State for an assumed name?
I got an email back saying there is no such thing.
So they just made that up.
Right, yeah. So let's go to...
By the way, this is what some tall, smelly loser in an RV is trying to accuse me of doing. I have a letter from the Secretary of State granting assumed names.
That's good. Let's go to the signature page. This will tell us
Who signed it?
well the date. Is what I'm interested in. I think this is going to be September 10th, 2015.
Oh, Bruce Lindsay.
Yeah, September 10th, 2015.
But where's the date? Oh, yeah.
Right? So this is extremely misleading. Okay? This may have been filed and adopted on the 10th day of September 2015, but it kept on the 9th day of September 2015, i.e. after Hillary had entered the presidential race of 2015-16, Hillary was still one of 3 supercharged Class A directors of this foundation pursuant to the terms of the bylaws, if the terms of the bylaws were legitimately adopted. And my contention, not being a lawyer, but nonetheless having watched this, is that the bylaws must actually conform to relevant provisions in the articles. And the articles do not say that you can have directors. The articles say that you have trustees, and then other contractual arrangements, which are binding with the National Archives and other places, say that this is a public charity. And the public charity has to have a representative board. It can't be controlled by a family. And these bylaws, we don't have the time, I don't think, to go all through every single one of them. But Adam Goldman, you work for the New York Times. You're drawing a paycheck. You could probably get some people together. You could read this, and you'll see that these bylaws describe an entity that is a closely controlled corporation that could never qualify as a public charity and is not in conformity either with the articles of this thing or with applicable federal laws and state laws and foreign laws. So they did not want this version to emerge before the election. And they certainly didn't want the version that is, I think, dated November 2nd, 2013, which evidently New York doesn't have, but Michigan has, and Georgia has, and I have, and many other people have. So, and that's a version which says, you know what? We better adopt bylaws because we haven't had bylaws. It doesn't say it this way. We better get some bylaws in there that show that we have them from November 2nd forward, because we didn't have them. And that means that everything we did when we abandoned the bylaws was actually reckless. Because, having articles and bylaws, it's not complicated. I mean, it might be complicated for you and for me because maybe we'd have
We're not lawyers.
We're not lawyers, but did Hillary Clinton go to Yale Law School?
Exactly.
Was she?
And don't they have millions of dollars to pay lawyers?
But wasn't she on the list of the smartest lawyers in America or the
Who
world
made that
forever?
list?
She did, probably.
Yeah.
A Dumbo. But did Bill go to law school?
Yeah.
Was Bill a Rhodes Scholar?
Well, yeah.
Is Bruce Lindsay a lawyer?
Is he? Probably.
Yes, he's definitely a lawyer.
Yeah.
I mean, you go on and on. This is, if you wanted to define reckless operation of a public, reckless disregard for a whole raft of laws, this is your case study. This is, I hope, how the Clintons will be remembered and the people who've tried to protect this. And Adam Goldman is, I think, let's look at him a little bit. How old is he? What is his background? Has he written books?
We were looking into him
It's a
with
common
Lee
name.
Stranahan. No, this is the guy. There was something going on where I think maybe James O'Keefe.
He won a Pulitzer Prize.
Of course.
In 2018. Are you kidding me? 2 times.
Yeah.
Russian meddling.
Russian meddling. He's 49. He's kind of my age.
University of Maryland.
Was this the same guy? Adam Goldman, James O'Keefe. I think it was him.
I mean, this guy absolutely. So they try to, like, if you were trying to be smart at this, right, trying to bury what's coming next,
yeah,
would you say, Trump is all over talking about, the folks in the New York Times need to return their Pulitzer Prizes, right? Would you let one of the people who...
Sorry, Charles, I'm guilty. I got my Hebrews confused. Matthew Rosenberg was being pursued by James O'Keefe. Oh, no, yeah, no, here it is. The right-wing group headed by conservative activist James O'Keefe has over the past year targeted 3 reporters, Adam Goldman. Yeah, no, that was right. So he went, because apparently Adam Goldman reported something. So in the November story, Goldman and Mazzetti, sourcing in part from internal Project Veritas legal memos and the paper's memos the paper's journalists obtained, they reported that the group has worked with lawyers to gauge how far its deceptive reporting practices could go before running afoul of federal laws.
Right. So if we go back to the New York Times story, if you still have that up, the New York Times story, it's 3 over. Yeah. Okay. Are there any other reporters listed here?
No.
Just Adam Goldman. So it's like, who are we going to get to do more misinformation, disinformation at a critical time to suggest that,
Pulitzer winner.
The Pulitzer winner, who proved that he would lie about Russian collusion, delusion, and doesn't have a shred of decency, this person. I mean, it's possible that I'll make a mistake. I mean, people make mistakes. But a mistake of this magnitude, right? This is the first time that I know about that a president was legitimately elected, and that
full stop.
Right, and despite and the other side, Hillary Clinton today is still opening her pie hole, saying the election was stolen in 2016, and this guy gets a Pulitzer for his false reporting, shares it, I think, with Maggie Haberman and others, and he's going to trot this thing out on May 22nd, 2023, to give the false sense that there was nothing to the Clinton Foundation because the FBI was not allowed to pursue the Clinton Foundation case the way they wanted to because the public integrity section of the Department of Justice said, no, you're not going to do that. And how do we know that? Well, there's the Hill article. There's not the Hill article, there's the article about Werfel, Daniel Werfel.
Where was that?
That was on Fox last night. If you put in Chad Pergram, Pergram, and Werfel, Werfel. So this story appears May 22nd, 2023.
This.
Right. This story appears last night, 6:51 p.m. All right. And this guy is saying, Werfel is the head of the IRS, and I did check. He was put in on May 15th, 2013, when Lerner was kicked out, or when the Lerner revelations came to the fore. Werfel replaced immediately they got rid of the IRS head. Werfel goes in as acting commissioner. He then goes to work for BCG sometime in 2014, and he just came back in as IRS commissioner.
Works for what?
Boston Consulting Group.
Uh-huh.
But
Fox, wow, wait a minute. Boston Consulting Group is at the center of what George was yelling about when he's harassing James O'Keefe just prior to O'Keefe getting pushed out.
So Fox News obtained the letter sent by Werfel on when? May 17th, in which Werfel, who may be one of the honest men in the IRS, maybe, when Werfel said, I didn't retaliate against anybody and
doesn't sound like the type of thing a team player would say for them.
Well, I want to say unequivocally that I have not intervened and will not intervene in any way that would impact the status of any whistleblower, not just this one. So we go down the page here, and I think it says in this article that lower down that it's either this one or the Hill one. Let's see, maybe it's the Hill one that I want. It says in the Hill one that the investigation, this particular investigation, was declined by the Department of Justice over the objections of the FBI Little Rock office. Yeah. Prosecutors in Little Rock closed the case in January, but the top agent there wanted it to be publicly stated that the prosecutors, not FBI agents, made the decision according to the Times. Right? So the FBI, there's some, I guess, honest people in the FBI in Little Rock who said, no. We want this to go forward. And in January 2021, when Barr may or may not have still been there, but when there was, Trump was on his way out, some crooked people wanted to be able to have the soundbite that Goldman cobbled together in his despicable piece, probably will win another Pulitzer, this team wanted to be able to say, there's nothing to this Clinton Foundation investigation. It was investigated, and the Department of Justice decided not to prosecute. No reasonable prosecutor would take, probably what they're doing. They pull out the Comey playbook from way back when, with Hillary, no reasonable prosecutor will take this case.
By the way, Charles, this is exactly what they're doing with the Durham report. The main, corporate news is like, 4 years this report came out.
No indictments.
Doesn't say anything about Joe Biden. Right. No indictments. So there you go. They investigated and it's done. Now send more money to Ukraine.
Right. So it's ridiculous.
Indeed.
So now Durham was supposed to testify.
No, Jim Jordan, last night I saw him saying, so what happened was Jim Jordan sent a letter sort of inviting him to testify like today or tomorrow or something like that. And that letter's been floating around for a week or two. But then yesterday on some Fox News thing, Jim Jordan said that he's coming in the coming weeks. So he didn't say he's not cooperating or he's not coming. Well, that's good. He just said it's not today.
Well, that's good. So we'll have we'll be able, I think, maybe to cobble together a list of questions that people in Congress might want to consider asking Mr. Durham. And we might be able to make those questions.
WTF.
Well,
is the first question.
Very specific questions. Very, very specific questions. And, it's like the difference. I've unfortunately had the experience of hiring contractors who were supposedly fantastic and would only be paid by the hour versus putting something out to bid with an engineering firm and people helping me check to make sure that the contractor selected actually did the work which I contracted to pay for. And I could tell you paying by the hour is a very bad idea.
Of course.
And that's what we're doing with this government. We are paying these idiots to say, let us, I got just the person to investigate this Clinton Foundation. Let's pick somebody who's implicated in this scandal.
Yeah.
And we're going to take a long time to make sure that
most people will be dead by the time it's done.
Right. Yeah. And it'll get to the point where it'll be tiresome. People say, you really want to investigate this again?
Right.
That's where it is.
It's amazing, Charles. It's a pretty standard play that I've seen happening all the time. I'm glad we were able to get this show in today, but there was a mad flurry this morning of information coming in surrounding all of this stuff. So thank you for taking time out of your busy day.
My pleasure.
To join us here today. I was just putting up the graphic to remind people that very soon Charles is going to be filling up charlesortel.substack.com with information. Now is a great time to get on there. You can become a free subscriber, and then when information starts flowing, you will be the first to know. So go visit charlesortel.substack.com. Don't forget you can sponsor Crowdsource the Truth. And Charles, I've been reminding everybody, I would be long gone not doing this show with you anymore. And that's not to imply that your research wouldn't have continued, but it would have taken a different shape. This format, this show would not be here right now today if it wasn't for the generous viewer sponsors that support the show. And all of the people throughout time who have said, you're not a patriot. You should make this information for free. What they're actually saying is you should rely on advertisements on YouTube to purchase food while you do this work, Jason. And that also would have stopped months ago. So this is a sincere and large thank you to every single individual who has chosen to become a sponsor. If you haven't done that yet, please go to odyssey.com/crowdsource the truth.
Where?
Yeah, or crowdsourcethetruth.substack.com. You can join crowdsourcethetruth.substack.com for free and read the Twitter coup, which I really encourage people to do. And of course, subscribestar.com and patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. My mouth has been operating too much today, so I need to shut it down for a while, Charles, unless there's anything else you'd like to discuss.
That's good.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Have a great evening. Unless your name is Hillary Clinton or you're involved in one of these frivolous lawsuits against me, then don't. Thanks, everybody. See you soon.